Hello, welcome to our boxing fight review. This is Andy Joshua versus Carlos Takam. So last weekend, Andy Joshua faced against Carlos Takam for the IBF, WBA and IBO heavyweight titles. Takam was a replacement for Pulev, who of course was the #1 challenger for the IBF heavyweight title. So Takam was told to fight Joshua on 2 weeks' notice. But due to reports I heard, I think he was in training anyway because the IBF, or I'm not sure who organised it, might have been Eddie Hearn, to say that make sure there's a replacement for Pulev if an injury did happen. Of course it happened, Pulev got injured and Takam steps in. The fight itself, I did think Andy Joshua would go into it quite confident considering he just beat Vladimir Klitschko back earlier in this year, which was a great fight. A lot of people saying contending for the fight of the year. It was a great fight, to be fair, and a lot better than I expected. With this fight, I did think it would be a bit more straightforward for Andy Joshua. I did know that Carlos Takam went against Joseph Parker last year, but apart from that, I didn't know much else about him. And I knew he was tough as well. He was going to bring everything he had to it. He had nothing to lose. He had a number of losses on his record as well. So it wasn't like he was undefeated fighter going against a undefeated champion with a lot at stake, because of course when you go into a world title fight like Carlos Takam did, of course he had nothing to lose. So going into the fight, I knew it wouldn't be as easy as I was first predicted once I found out about Takam's situation. The fight itself was okay. Andy Joshua didn't perform to the best of his abilities compared to his previous performances, but he got the win. But the summary of the fight, I'll get to the end of the stoppage at the end, but overall in the second round, Joshua clashed with Takam as a sort of Holyfield-esque sort of style. Takam sort of ducked low and pushed upwards, and he clashed with Andy Joshua's nose. I think he broke it as well in the process, and from there Joshua did have his moments, same with Takam, but it didn't look, from my point of view, it didn't look like Andy Joshua could deal with just the movement of Takam. I'm not saying Takam was coming in there with like blazing hand speed, blazing power, like proper denting Joshua with every hit, because he wasn't. He was just doing good movement and stuff, and I don't know if I'm not really sure what his game plan was to be honest when I watched it. Maybe I need to watch it again to look through it to see if Takam's plan was to go into later rounds or maybe get a lucky shot, because like I said, he is 36, he's got nothing to lose, but I did think his game plan was questionable because I didn't even know what it was. Joshua's one, I think, again, backfired. His weight was again called into question. Before the fight, he went in at 254 pounds, which is a career high. The fight before for Klitschko, he became quite heavy as well. And if anyone's seen that fight, he did gas out for sort of in the middle parts of the middle rounds of the fight. Klitschko was easily winning. And I know he recruited, got the second win, and obviously everyone knows the outcome of that fight. But I'm not sure if it was as apparent in this fight, but I could tell there was moments where Joshua could have done more and he didn't, because I'm not sure if it was the weight or the stamina, because I know sometimes stamina can be a separate thing to weight, but if you've got so much weight on you in there, it doesn't matter if you're the quickest or hardest puncher in the division, if you don't do equal amount of cardio and say weights, for example, it's going to affect you in that. And I did think it affected him again. Like I said, not as bad as the Klitschko fight, because that was really apparent, and everyone who I spoke to and I watched the video reports on YouTube and stuff, and other areas I read reports, everyone was saying that he had stamina problems. And again, like I said, he did have problems with this one, but from my point of view, it wasn't as apparent as the Klitschko fight. So going towards the end of the later rounds and stuff, it was quite clear that while Joshua didn't have a great performance, he was clearly winning because he's just a busier, active, more fighter. Takam had his moments and stuff, and he had the awkward style, which made it slightly more interesting, but like I said, not anything groundbreaking. So so when you got to sort of round 10 and that, you think, what was going on like with it? What was going to happen? Takam at this point had a few cuts on him and stuff. He got wobbled as well, and you could see this guy was probably beaten maybe a couple of rounds before or something, but you knew that he was probably won maybe the odd round if people were being generous. But Joshua, like I said, while not the best performance, was winning the fight. So anyway, I think it's into round 10. Referee was given a look at Takam for some unknown reason. Joshua hit him clean a couple of times, but Takam stood firm. He wasn't wobbled. He wasn't like all around the ring like spun out of control. But he was still in the fight. I know he was cut and he was probably hurting, but he was still there. And the referee jumped in, which I think was really bad because I'm not sure what the referee's name was. I can't remember, but I did remember reading one specific review online, and they said the referee in question had a history of stopping fights quite early. And I know people are going to say conspiracy theories and stuff. Listen to a few podcasts about like, is it to sort of keep his record intact? I mean, who knows? I mean, we can't really prove these sort of things, but the stoppage is really poor, and I don't like seeing fights being stopped early. And I know heavyweight boxing is about getting a knockout and just destroying your opponent, which is correct. But sometimes you have to think about obviously more than just a fight, like health-wise and stuff. Because if Takam was obviously, which he was losing, you don't want him to get any actual damage. But the thing is, it's not like he was getting pummeled about for the whole fight, pillar to post, getting absolutely battered, because that wasn't the case. And it was a shame that Takam wasn't allowed to finish the fight, because I think he deserved to win the fight. Sorry, finish the fight. He wouldn't have won it. It probably would have been a very wide decision win for Anthony Joshua. But like I said, I did think he deserved to finish the fight because of the spirit performance that he put in. So with the win, Anthony Joshua goes to 20-0 with 20 knockouts, retaining the IBF, WBA and RBO belts. Of course, now there's lots of talk for his next fight, and he has many options. He could go against WO champion Joseph Parker, who just recently beat Hughie Fury, who is Tyson Fury's cousin. I know that fight. I didn't watch the fight, but I've heard a lot of negative things about that. So you never know. Joseph Parker might want to go against someone. Might go against someone like Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is still WC champion. He's going against Stavern. I think that's today actually, like late. It'll be late night here, but it'll be sort of midnight in America for the heavyweight championship. It's a rematch of their 2015 battle. I only see one winner in that fight. Deontay Wilder should have won quite comfortably. I know his performances, and he's had some injuries recently, but he's more active and more fresh than Stavern. Stavern's only fought once since 2015. It's that loss against Wilder, which I don't really know how the hell he's managed to keep it at the high WBC ranking. I think he's promoted as Don King, so I mean, anyone who's a little bit about Don King will probably know why he's still got a ranking. If Deontay Wilder wins, which he should, like I said, I do think him and Joshua should meet. Not early 2018, but early enough so we can watch. I want it to happen quite earlier rather than later in 2018, because say if it gets to like midnight summer or so this time next year, that'd be nearly a whole year, and you don't want any. You just want the heavyweight champions to fight each other. You don't want them to fight like another random person, another mandatory, because I know sometimes you have to do it because the organisation tells you to, but I do think if there's a big fight to be made, they'll have 3 major organisation belts on the line, so you could become undisputed heavyweight champion as well. I know you need to read magazine to be seen as like the linear undisputed heavyweight champion, but having 4 belts is better than having 3 or 1. But I do think if Anthony Joshua fights Deontay Wilder, that'd be an interesting matchup. I can't really speak about it now because Deontay Wilder hasn't even finished his upcoming fight. Curtis Takam, I know he lost that fight. He hasn't got anything to feel bad about apart from the stoppage, of course. I'm not really sure what this does with his ranking. He'll probably push him down a little bit, but time will tell. Because he's quite old, I'm not sure how it sort of plays in now to his actual career. Because as I said, I don't know much about him, so I can't really say too much on his situation. But it'll be interesting to see if he gets another title shot in the future. He probably won't, but that's just my opinion. But you never know, something might happen soon. This has been Anthony Joshua, Cast Second Fight Review. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next video.